We often think about aging in terms of things we can see, like gray hair or fine lines. But what if one of the biggest drivers of aging is actually an invisible process happening inside our bodies right now? We're going to talk about that hidden culprit today, something called glycation. So let me ask you this, and it might sound a little strange. What could a perfectly seared steak possibly have in common with wrinkled skin? I know, it sounds like a riddle, but the answer really gets to the heart of this entire topic. The answer? It all comes down to a chemical reaction. And what's wild is that the very same process that makes that steak delicious is also going on inside our bodies, influencing how we look, feel, and age over time. All right, so let's get into it. First things first, we need to understand this fundamental process. Think of it as the body's own browning reaction. So, what in the world are we talking about? We're talking about Advanced Glycation End Products, or AGEs for short. You can think of them as these harmful little compounds that form when a sugar molecule just latches onto a protein or a fat. The really important part is that this happens randomly, without any enzyme to guide it. It's like sugar getting gummed up in the machinery, causing things to get sticky and stiff. And get this isn't some brand new discovery. Scientists actually spotted this happening in food way back in 1912. They called it the Maillard reaction. It's the reason toast turns brown, coffee gets its rich flavor, and meat gets that amazing crust. So yeah, the same reaction that makes our food taste so good is the one we need to manage in our bodies. Okay, so if this is happening inside of us, where are all these AGEs coming from? Are we just making them ourselves? Are we eating them, or what's the deal? Well, it turns out it's a bit of both. We have what are called endogenous AGEs, which our bodies just form naturally as part of being alive. But then there are the exogenous ones, and these are the ones we have a lot more control over. They come from the outside world, mainly from our food and certain lifestyle habits. And this is really the key takeaway, right? Your lifestyle choices can literally flood your system with these things. By far, the biggest source is our diet. And it's not just what you eat, but how you cook it. High dry heat, like frying and grilling, sends AG levels through the roof. And no surprise here, smoking is another huge contributor. All right, we know what they are and we know where they come from. But now for the million-dollar question. What do they actually do once they're in your body? What's the damage? It really boils down to two main ways these AGEs cause trouble. First, they cross-link proteins. Just think of them as a kind of molecular superglue that makes flexible things rigid. They bind proteins together, causing our tissues to lose their function and become stiff. Second, they hit the panic button on our cells by activating special receptors called RAGE. And when that happens, it kicks off a chain reaction of chronic inflammation and oxidative stress. So let's translate that into stuff you can actually see and feel. That molecular glue I mentioned, when it cross-links the collagen in your skin, yep, you guessed it, that leads directly to wrinkles and loss of elasticity. When it does the same thing to elastin in your blood vessels, they get stiff, which contributes to heart disease. And all that RAGE activation, that fuels the low-grade chronic inflammation we see in conditions like diabetes. And the impact is huge. It's widespread. We're not just talking about one or two things. AGEs are a major player in so many of our biggest health challenges: diabetes complications, heart disease, kidney disease, even neurodegeneration, and of course, the visible signs of skin aging. Okay, I know that all sounds pretty doom and gloom, but here's the good news, the really important part. You are not powerless here. So let's flip the script and talk about your anti-age action plan. And you know what? It's not crazy complicated. It really boils down to 3 simple, powerful steps. First, change up how you cook. Second, choose foods that are naturally lower in AGEs. And third, and this one's a big one, ditch the cigarettes. First up, let's talk about the kitchen. The rule of thumb here is so simple. Moist heat is your friend, dry heat is not. Things like frying, grilling, and roasting create a ton of AGEs. But if you shift towards steaming, boiling, or stewing more often, you can slash your intake without a massive diet overhaul. And when it comes to what's on your plate, think whole foods, think minimally processed stuff. A Mediterranean-style diet is a fantastic model for this. Oh, and here's a great little kitchen hack for you. Marinating meats in something acidic, like lemon juice or vinegar, can actually stop some of those AGEs from forming in the first place. How cool is that? And nature's got our back on this one too. Research is showing that certain natural compounds can really help fight this whole glycation process. Things like resveratrol, which you find in red grapes, and anthocyanins, the compounds that give berries their amazing deep colors, have shown some really promising anti-glycation effects.
Look, at the end of the day, the science on this is really clear. This quote says it all. AGEs are now recognized as major risk factors that speed up aging. This isn't some fringe theory anymore. It's a core piece of the puzzle of how and why we age.
So here's where we land. The question isn't if this is affecting you. It is. It affects all of us. The real question is, what's one simple, tiny change you can make starting today to push back? Maybe you steam your broccoli instead of roasting it tonight. Or maybe you add a handful of berries to your breakfast. Every little bit counts.